Hey guys, welcome back to our Happy Meets Healthy. Now we all know that soups are an awesome healthy thing to meal prep and make ahead. They taste even better during the week. You can enjoy them several times. But when it's hot outside, you may not want to heat up your kitchen or even bother eating a hot soup. So gazpacho to the rescue. I love making summer gazpachos with just a handful of things from the farmer's market. Takes no time at all, and I'm going to show you how to add really fun, flavorful, cool toppings to them too, so you won't get bored. So let's get started. Okay. It's a tomato-based soup, but here's the thing. While sometimes you can get gorgeous, beautiful, juicy tomatoes, it can be a pain to juice them. They may not always have the flavor you want. So here's my little hack to make sure the base of your soup has great flavor no matter when you're making this, even in the winter. Start with 2 cups of your favorite vegetable juice or tomato juice in a bowl. You could also use like a clamato style juice if you want to go for like a seafood edge to it. And then next, we are going to use our food processor, or if you have a mini chop, to make really quick work of taking care of all these different veggies. If you don't have one, no sweat. I'll show you how to do a coarse chop. I actually love having gazpachos with a little bit of texture. It makes them more satisfying and even more delicious. All you need after the tomato or vegetable juice is 2 large ripe tomatoes, 1 shallot, 1 English cucumber or large ripe cucumber, 1 red pepper, and some fresh dill. I'll tell you later why I'm using dill. You could do mint or parsley or basil. Okay, so let's start with our tomatoes. The best thing about using the food processor is we just are going to pulse it a little bit to give it a quick dice. It doesn't need to be, you don't want it pureed and you don't want it in too big chunks. We're just gonna cut diagonally like this to remove the core. Okay, once it's cut into large chunks, you're just gonna add it to your food processor. If you don't have one, let me show you. You would just cut it into a coarse chop like this. You don't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be pretty, just into smaller pieces so you can pick it up with a spoon. Now what you wanna do is just pulse it so that it breaks it up and chops it into some small bits. There you go. Now we add that to our tomato juice. I'm working vegetable by vegetable for a reason, and I'm going to show you how to cut each of them up. If you put them all in at once, it could kind of come out like a puree, and that's not what we're looking for here. Next up, a nice big red bell pepper. Now, here's my favorite way to cut up peppers, in case you were wondering for a speedy trick, because sometimes those seeds can get all over your cutting board and all over everything. I cut across the top like this, and it exposes the inside. And then what we're gonna do is cut around the edges and leave the core all intact so we can just toss it and not worry about seeds everywhere. Now again, just like with our tomato, if you didn't have a food processor, all you would need to do is just give your red pepper a quick chop like this into small pieces and add it to your bowl. If you do have a food processor or a mini chop, just go for kind of big chunks like this and add them in. You could do a yellow pepper if you wanted to, or an orange pepper. I wouldn't really do a green pepper. I don't know if you guys know this, but green peppers are actually unripe red, yellow, or orange peppers. That's why they're not as sweet and juicy as the yellow, orange, and red. So in general, I usually like to cook with those. Okay, cool. So again, going vegetable by vegetable gives you more control over the size of the pieces that you want to get out of it. So we're going for something like this. They go right into the bowl. You don't need to clean out your food processor in between either. Okay, next up, we're gonna add some cucumber. If you find really gorgeous cucumbers at the farmer's market, go for it. If you don't see any or you're not near a farmer's market, the ones that I really like to cook with are English cucumbers. They're long and thin and they come wrapped in plastic. And the reason I like them, especially for gazpacho, they just have less seeds. We're going to peel this really quickly, and then I'm going to show you my really fast hack for removing the little bit of seeds that are in the middle of the cucumber. Okay, once your cucumber is peeled, we're going to cut it lengthwise, just like this. So now, to get rid of these seeds, the reason we're getting rid of the seeds, you're just gonna make it a little bit watery. Some people, the seeds bother their stomach, and it'll just come out a lot prettier and nicer. Anytime you want to seed a cucumber, just grab a spoon or a measuring spoon or a melon baller and just run it down the length of the inside like this. You guys know I'm all about keeping it easy for you and for myself. I like to do it into a bowl because then it's that much easier to toss. If it sprays you, just consider it part of the refreshing part of gazpacho. It's a cucumber water refreshing splash. So now that we've seeded our cucumber, we're going for the same thing, you guys, just a coarse chop. If you don't have a food processor, here's the fastest way to do it. Just go lengthwise, like this. Keep it all in one piece. It's gonna make your life easier. And then line it up, like this, and go for it. No fancy knife skills needed, just a coarse chop, just small enough so it'll fit on a spoon and make it easy to eat. If you do have a food processor, we're going for the same thing, just big chunks. You see how fast and easy this is to make? I love it. Okay, by the way, if you are doing this by hand, I really encourage you guys to grab one of these. They're called pastry cutters. Pastry chefs use them to cut pastry. But they are also an awesome, awesome way to move things from your cutting board into a bowl really easily. Okay, now we add our cucumber. Okay, so we're almost there really. Now we're just gonna add some amazing flavor with a few really important ingredients. If you guys have been following me, you know about my love for shallots. They're like little mild, almost like an onion crossed with garlic, and they come in small packages, which is perfect if you're cooking in small amounts. I didn't put this in the food processor for a reason. When you try to food process something like this, it can really turn into a puree and it'll actually make it taste like too oniony, too strong. So we are going to mince this one. In case you were wondering, you just treat it like a small baby onion when you're gonna mince it. Go across like this, keep your fingers up, then go lengthwise, this. Okay, now you're going to add a tablespoon of one of my favorite vinegars. It's sherry vinegar. Gazpacho is actually a Spanish chilled soup, and sherry vinegar is like used in a lot of Spanish cuisine. It has a really mild, nutty, rich kind of a flavor, and it's amazing in this. I love to finish a lot of dishes like a gazpacho or other soups with something acidic and tart. It's not going to make it taste vinegary, it's gonna brighten up all of the flavors. We're gonna add a tablespoon of sherry vinegar. Then we're still keeping this light and healthy, but I'm going to add a tablespoon of a really high quality olive oil. The little extra fat will kind of smooth out all the flavors and bring them all together and make it for a really luscious tasting soup. Again, with very little fat. We're talking about a tablespoon across about 6 servings of soup. Then don't forget the salt. We're going with 2 teaspoons here, but you can do it to taste. And finally, again, if you've been following me, you know my love for fresh herbs. And in this case, I'm going to use some really nice, bright, fresh dill. It pairs so well with all the flavors in here and all the vegetables. And when we get to the next step, which are the really fun toppings, you'll see why dill goes especially well in this gazpacho. You could also do, like I said, mint, chives, parsley, cilantro, any herb you have on hand that's your favorite. Just a coarse chop, no stress. We're going for about 2 tablespoons here. And then save some of the extra for your garnish. So you guys, that is it. Our gazpacho is done. Bright, beautiful, fresh. It'll keep for up to a week in the fridge, but let's have some more fun with some really cool toppings for it. These are some of my favorites. You can add a little bit of crumbled goat cheese to the top. Feta is also awesome, whichever one you like more. There's some feta. Avocado is always a favorite. Put a few slices on. And the reason I was talking about using the dill, I absolutely love topping fresh gazpacho with some like grilled or poached shrimp to make it more of like a meal. It's cool if they fall in, don't worry about it. Or another really great one is some lump crab meat. You could add chickpeas to it if you are vegetarian or vegan, or you're just not into the seafood. It's great as is. And then always go for a little bit of garnish. We're gonna do some of the dill since we already had it out anyway to put in our recipe. And another one that's really fun to put on top is a little bit of sliced green scallion. So you guys, be sure to subscribe below and share this video with your friends if you liked it. And if you hit the bell below too, you'll be notified whenever I post another Happy Meats Healthy recipe. But this summer gazpacho is so fantastic. It's bright and light and flavorful. Like I said, top it with crab meat, with shrimp, with avocado. Pick up veggies at your farmer's market. If you don't have one, hit the supermarket. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you next time.